Hey guys, Rich from Rich Big Gaming. Hope everyone is doing fantastically well. Welcome to this, another Star Wars Shatterpoint vid. And to almost round things out with all the Wave 1 characters and packs that we've got, we are going to take a look at the Twice the Pride pack. Now, I've already managed to play quite a few games with these characters on TTS, and I absolutely love them. So we're going to take a look at what is in the box, and we're going to show you the cards, break them down, and give you my thoughts. Also, we'll show you the models completely built as well. These are the last models I have to build from the opening wave. Starting to paint them up, may even do a couple of live streams over the next week or so as well, where we can just hang out and do some hobbying together. But before we get over to the other camera, just a quick reminder, guys, that we are giving away that Vader and Obi-Wan diorama pack. The moment we hit 5,000 subscribers, which we are so close to doing now, we're going to be giving that away. And the only thing you need to do to be in with a chance of winning that is make sure that you are one of those 5,000 subscribers. You also need to make sure that you make that subscription public. If your subscription isn't public, I don't know that you are a subscriber, and therefore your name will not go in the hat. But without further ado, let's head over, let's take a look at the box, and we'll build up some models. Okay guys, so this is the Twice the Pride pack. Star Wars Shatterpoint, Count Dooku, Jango Fett, and some Magna Guards. And once again, these sculpts and the paint jobs are really good. Your words please, we don't want to make a mess of things in front of the Chancellor. That is the verbiage that we get on the back. We've got some other stuff there as well. It's going to include 4 miniatures, 3 unit stack cards, 3 stance cards, and 3 order cards. So let's open this up and take a look at what is inside. Let's put the box to one side for a minute. We'll put the plastic over here out of the way. So your instructions, as always, just scan the QR code, follow that, and that is where you will find them. Let's start to take a look at some of the cards, and once again we get all the cards in the world. So let's just get the English versions out of these. There we go. All of the other languages there. Again, guys, look at how many cards there are. Just seems a little bit crazy if you ask me. So let's start then, and let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, so let's take a look at our first card, Count Dooku, Separatist Leader. Now, if we flip his card over, you can see that he's going to bring 7 squad points. He's obviously Clone Wars era. He's bringing 4 Force, and he has Count Dooku, Primary Unit, Separatist Leader. So because he's got that Count Dooku, Separatist Leader, he's got that title, does make you think that they may do another Count Dooku in the future, but probably not for a while. He's going to come with 10 stamina, and he's going to come with 3 durability, and he's a Force user, Separatist Alliance, and Sith. So he is our first leader in the game, or the only leader in the game upon release that has a tactic, and it is leader of the Separatist army. At the start of this unit's activation, choose another allied Separatist Alliance character, that's a mouthful there, within range 3. Each character in this unit and the chosen character may dash. Now, I really like this on Dooku, and the main reason why is every other primary in the game has the ability to make a movement that's not an action. They typically have to spend a Force to do that. Dooku doesn't, and he also gets to move another allied Separatist character as well. Really nice, especially when you see some of the other characters, and you start to get the feeling that the movement is really all what the Separatists are about. So he has no active abilities, so his first reactive ability is going to be Surely You Can Do Better. When a character in this unit is targeted with an attack, this unit may spend 1 to 3 power to use this ability while modifying the attack roll. Change 1 strike result to a fail for each power spent. Now, there has been, guys, a slight errata to this, and it's made it significantly better. The wording on this originally meant that you had to pay that power when you were being targeted. So you had to pay the force power, irrespective of whether you were going to make any use from it or not. Now you get to see all of your opponent's results, you get to see your results, and it happens during the dice modification step. So much better. Means that you're only spending power when you need to. As you know, force power in this game, or the will of the force, is a finite resource. So I really like that one. We've then got twice the pride, double the fall. This is going to cost 1 force power. After a melee attack targeting an allied character within range 2 is resolved, this unit may use this ability. If the attack roll contained no strike results, one character in this unit may dash and then may make a 5 dice ranged attack targeting the attacking character. So let's break that one down. First of all, it's got to be melee. That makes sense. Now, Dooku is allied to himself, so he's also within range 2 of himself, so he can always use this, but he can also use it on other characters as well. Now, when it says the attack roll contained no strike results, when we block in this game, we actually remove the strikes from the pool, from the results. So it's not just relying on your opponent to roll no strikes. When you use your blocks, you actually get to do them as well. And obviously this pairs very well with Surely You Can Do Better, where you're going to be able to change up to 3 of those strikes to failures. So really nice. It is only on melee attacks, so this isn't going to work on ranged attacks, but I think this is really good. And then lastly, we've got his identity, brave but foolish. Once per turn, when an allied primary unit or allied secondary unit is wounded by an enemy effect, after the effect is resolved, refresh 2 force. Then choose an allied separatist supporting unit. One character in the chosen unit may dash or make a 5 dice attack. And remember, that will work on units that are wounded as well. So just because they're wounded doesn't mean that they can't be a target of this. This is really good. Again, reactive abilities, being able to move characters back onto points, back onto objectives that maybe they weren't contesting before is really good. But being able to refresh that force is very good indeed, and really does give your opponent a little bit of a quandary as to whether or not they should be going for you or not. Let's have a quick look at his order card, just the artwork on there. Remember, you do get that little reminder there that he does have a tactic. And then let's take a look at the first side of his order card, or his stance card even. This is going to be Force Mastery. He does have a ranged attack, so he is at least on the initial release, he is one of only 2 characters, one of only 2 primary characters that has a ranged attack. Difference between this guy and Dooku is on both Force Mastery and on Force 2 Makashi, he has access to that Force Lightning. So on his Force Mastery side, he's got 8 dice on his range attack, 6 dice on his melee, 6 dice in defense. His expertise in defense isn't great. No dice manipulation in there, which is typically really good, but the expertise on his Force Lightning is very good indeed. The tree's okay. He's not doing a huge amount of damage. He's got a maximum there of, what's that, 5, 6, 7 damage, 8 if we include the extra damage off the Force Lightning, but a whole bunch of conditions, some heals, and a reposition in there as well. I am very quickly becoming a huge fan of characters that can reposition off their combat trees. It makes them very powerful indeed. Let's flip this over, see what he gains, see what he loses. We can already see that straight up he's going to lose 2 dice in his Form 2 Makashi on his range attack, but he is going to gain dice on his melee. He's also more susceptible 2 ranged attacks, having only 5 defensive dice down from 6, but he's far better up close and personal because of those 7 defense dice in melee. However, the one for me is the duelist training. On 1 to 2 expertise, he's going to get 1 extra block and turn a crit into a failure, but on 3 he's turning 2 crits into failures as well as that block. His force lightning expertise isn't anywhere near as good. He's losing out on those crits. Still gets the damage in there naturally, but on his lightsaber, 1 expertise giving you 2 crits is very nice indeed. And once again, he's got a whole bunch of conditions, but potentially 2 repositions, 2 long moves or 2 full advances in this game is absolutely huge, plus a whole bunch of shoves and things like that as well. For me, this is the form that I tend to turn into after turn 1. So turn 1, when I set up, I'm starting here usually, typically because I'm getting those extra attack dice, and usually but not always the first attack with Dooku is going to be that ranged force lightning, but then I always want to flip over to this other side, really because of that defensive expertise that's giving us some dice manipulation in there. So that's Dooku. Overall, he's a very, very strong character, one of my favourite primaries in the game at the moment, and probably the one that I've got the most number of games with. Let's move on to Jango Fett, Bounty Hunter. He's got an active ability, Jetpack. It's going to cost him 1 power. He gets to do a jump basically, which is really, really nice. He's then got an active ability, Capture Wire. Choose a character in this unit and an enemy character within range 3 of that character. So someone within range 3. Pull the chosen enemy character 2 towards the allied character. Then the chosen enemy character gains pin. It's really, really nice. Any way of being able to get characters off point is really good, and we'll see on his combat trees and his stance cards in a moment that he's got ways to trigger that as well. He's got 1 reactive ability, Not So Fast. It's going to cost 1 power. This is amazing for getting out some extra damage on characters who are pretty tanky. At the start of an enemy unit's activation, if 1 or more characters in that unit are within range 3 of a character in this unit may use this ability. Roll 5 attack dice. The activating unit suffers 1 damage for each crit and strike in the result roll. I'm often getting 2 or 3 results on this nearly every single roll. Yes, you can get none, but it's a great way of being able to do some extra damage. His first innate ability, My Client is Getting Impatient. This is going to be every time he makes a focus action, 1 character in this unit may jump. So his action economy is very, very good. Usually you have to choose, right? Do I want to move and attack, or do I want to focus and attack? And obviously, depending on where you are, determines what you get to do. Obviously, that focus is going to give you 1 extra die in either your next melee or ranged attack, this activation only. But being able to do 2 moves without actually using an action is with only using 1 action is very, very good, because he's also got the jetpack in there as well. And then his last innate ability, I'm just looking to get paid. When a character in this unit wounds an enemy primary unit or enemy secondary unit, after the effect is resolved, refresh 2 force power, and 1 character in this unit may recover twice. Very, very good. Django's really good at taking out primary and secondary characters. He's got some good damage output, as we'll see in a second. Let's have a look at his tags. He's a bounty hunter, he's a mercenary, he's a scoundrel, but for the moment he is part of the Separatist Alliance. He's going to come with 9 stamina. He's going to come with 2 durability. He's going to cost 4 points. He's obviously at Clone Wars era. He's a secondary, so right now he's not bringing any force power. And we've got Jango Fett, Bounty Hunter secondary unit. Artwork on the order card. Yeah, it's okay. Doesn't have a tactic ability. As you know, it's very much a solo player. But let's have a look at his let's have a look at his stance card. Resourceful Gunslinger. He's got a range attack, as you would expect. It's going to be range 4, and he's going to be 6s across the board for ranged and melee, and he's also going to be 5s across the board in his defensive tech. That Beskar armor, 1 expertise, giving 2 blocks, is very, very good indeed. Custom blaster pistols, you've got crits all the way over there. This is really his preferred method of attack, purely because of those crits, whereas he does drop down to a combination of damage and strikes on his custom blaster pistol melee. I love the fact that these guys are just whacking people over the head with their blaster pistols. His combat tree is very interesting. Once you start getting into 3, 4 or even 5 successes, because he does only have 5 options on here. 3 damage from 2 is really, really nice, but what's really nice is the ability to trigger that active ability without having to pay the force for it. Or, as you can see, he's got a huge amount of movement. He's got 2 shoves in there. He's also got 2 jumps in there as well. Maxing out, what is that? 5, 6, 7. Maxing out at 10 damage, 11 if you're using your custom blaster pistols, is really, really good. Again, I've played a lot of games with Django, and I really, really like him. I think he's very, very strong. I think he may be my favourite. Ahsoka probably takes the tag for my favourite secondary at the moment, but he's definitely up there, definitely close to Ahsoka as far as I'm concerned, and what a character that is very, very good indeed. So let's round it out then with the Magna Guard, the support unit for this squad. These are obviously going to cost 3 because we've got 7 from Dooku, so 4 and 3 make 7. Magna Guard supported unit, and you can see there that they come with 2 characters in here. Obviously 0 force. Maybe one day we'll have a supporting unit that brings some force, who knows. So Magna Guard, protection protocol. So they've got no active abilities whatsoever, but they do have a reactive ability. After an allied separatist primary unit makes a move action, important, it has to be a move action, this unit may use this ability. Choose a character in the activating primary unit. 1 character in this unit may advance towards the chosen character. And you can see in a second why it's so important to have these Magna Guards close by to your primaries. And the main reason for that is bodyguard. Before we get into bodyguard, actually, it's important to note that that towards action is after the primary character has moved. So it's towards wherever they finish up their movement. If they are engaged, that advance is just going to drop down to a dash, but either way, it's still very, very good. So bodyguard, innate ability. All primary characters and allied primary characters and allied secondary characters within range 2 of a character in this unit have cover 1. This is the only way outside of a hunker token that you can gain cover in this game at the moment, because now with the new rules, even with terrain, you need a hunker token, but there's no need for a hunker token for this one because it's a separate source of cover. So making sure that your primary and secondaries have got the Magna Guard nearby is very, very good indeed. That cover 1 obviously adding 1 additional die into their defense pool, only for ranged attacks. It doesn't work against melee. So lastly then, we have Intercede, another innate ability. While this unit is not wounded, enemy characters engaged with 1 or more characters in this unit cannot target allied primary or allied secondary characters with attacks. Any attacks, doesn't matter if it's ranged or melee. If you're engaged, you can't make ranged attacks anyway. But this is really, really good. I really like putting my bigger characters who you want to keep alive for longer. I like putting them on the points, like keeping the Magna Guard close by. Because if you've got range attacks coming in from afar, the bodyguard is kicking in. And if they're up close and personal, if you're clever enough with your positioning, they're not going to be able to put attacks into the Magna Guard, into the primary and secondary unit themselves. Let's have a look then at their stance card. We've got defensive programs. So no range, so these guys have just got those electro staffs, but they're going to be doing 5 defense against ranged attacks, 5 defense against melee, but they're going to get 6 dice, potentially up to 7 if Kalani's around as well, which I would highly recommend running with these guys from the core box. So 6 dice for melee attacks, but their actual expertise is very good for support units. 1 expertise giving you 1 crit, 2 to 3 giving you 2, 4 plus giving you 3. But I really like 2 shoves from 2 successes. These guys are not dealing out a huge amount of damage. They're maxing out at 6, I think, in total. But they've got shoves, they've got repositions, they've got heals, they can disarm. Huge amount of things that they can do. They get around the board very quickly. They're very good at holding points. And yeah, they're some of my favourite support units in the game, even though they are the only support unit in the game that can't make ranged attacks. But it does mean that frees up to be able to do things like take cover, so you get those hunker tokens on them as well. But I really like them. Let's take a quick look then at the artwork on here. It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice indeed. So that's all the cards that we get in this box. Let's take a look at the plastic and see what we are dealing with here. Okay, so we've got capes, and we all know that we love a good cape. Let's just zoom out ever so slightly here so we can get a better look at it. We all love some capes. So you've got capes for the Magna Guard, we've got capes for Dooku. Django's going to feel a little bit left out, I think, by not having capes, but he does have a pretty cool jetpack on there as well. And once again, these lightsabers are very thin. Just take extra care when snipping those off. I'd almost recommend, and what I typically do is I'll actually cut them here, so away from the lightsaber itself. And then once I've got it off there, I can use my knife and actually get up close and personal. Similarly with these electro staffs, they're not quite as fragile, but still definitely something worth looking at. Now, you may be thinking there's something missing from here. I do have to make a confession. I have been doing my bases, so I did go in and I took the bases out, and this is what Django stands on, so that's why there is the bit missing there. So no bits missing for me. It's one that I've already taken out. Guys, I'm going to go away and I'm going to build these up. Again, we're not going to do it on the video itself because it would be too long, so I'm going to go away, I'll build these up, and then I'll come right back. I'd like to take a minute to thank the brand new sponsor of the channel, Loyalist Games. Loyalist are a great local gaming store in West Yorkshire. They stock all of your favourite MCP and Shatterpoint products, plus a huge range of other gaming systems. They also have an awesome gaming space where weekly events are held. We've already been running our MCP League that's coming into its 4th season. We've hosted a number of MCP events, and we'll be doing so for Shatterpoint as well. So hopefully we can see you guys there at some of the events in the future. There'll be a link down in the description below, and if you're looking for a place to get all of your hobbying purchases at a great price, then look no further than Loyalist Games. Okay guys, so that was mere seconds for you. It's been about 3 hours for me. I've actually been to go watch the new Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse in between doing these, so highly recommended. But here we go. Here are all the figures, and you'll notice that I have sub-assembled some parts. You'll also notice that the characters are on the base, and I've said in previous videos that I was going to do the bases separately. I've mixed up, changed up what I'm going to do with the bases. They're going to be more like the Dathomirian terrain that I'm doing as my board, so we're going to be using some texture paste on the bottom. We'll also use it to add some weathering and things on certain characters' armour. But let's start then with the 2 Magna Guard. Now obviously these are just heads. Oh sorry, these are just bodies. So you've got the 2 heads here. I believe, no, other way around. So this one goes on top of here like so. And then this one will go on here. Reason for that is the cloaks are quite bright. They're like a creamy colour, and I want to be able to get underneath properly, so we'll get the airbrush out on them ones, I think. But really, really nice minis. Very, very easy to put together again. Some really nice connection points on there. And again, all the model lines in places that are not too bad. Next up then, we have got Django. I really like this pose, really like this character. I like the fact that he's sort of leaning back. Let's put the arm there, just see if we can get a more focused in. It's focusing on Dooku for some reason. There we go. Love the little extra rock will texture up around that. But yeah, really, really like this model. And then last, but by no means least, is the Count himself, Dooku. You get two options for these. For this one, you get just a arm pointing, or you get it with the Force Lightning. I went for the Force Lightning, and once again, he does have a cloak. This clips on. This is a little bit difficult to get on, but it does clip on. So we're going to be painting that up separately again, and just making it a little bit easier to get everything done that we need. So let's go back over to the other camera, and I'll give you my final thoughts on the Twice the Pride squad pack. Okay guys, there we go. That is the Twice the Pride squad pack from Atomic Mass Games for Star Wars Shatterpoint. Retails at $50. You can pick it up for about 40 or £40 if you're in the UK, because we have to pay the UK tax. What do I think? I think it's a really good set. I think it's a great first wave set. There's some rules in there that are slightly more complex than the core box itself. You know, you've got some additional dice manipulation in there. If you sort of pair this with the Obi-Wan box, you've also got rerolls in that box as well. So I like how they're introducing some additional rules, and in some of the other boxes that we've got coming up, we'll see even more rules as well. So I do like that. I do like that they're keeping it simple to start off with, and then they're gradually building up and adding in more rules. Where do I think they will be? Do I think they'll be played a lot? Absolutely. I think Dooku is up there with Anakin for being the best leader in the game at the moment. You know, they're both the most expensive characters in the game. You know, they only bring seven squad points. So by virtue of that, it means that they should be the best. But they are good. They're very, very good. Dooku, once he gets up close and personal in particular, very, very good. But with that added benefit of being able to make ranged attacks as well is very, very nice indeed. Guys, quick reminder that we do have our giveaway. You need to make sure you've subscribed to do that. I think we're only about 30 or 40 subscribers away now from doing that draw. Big shout out to loyalist Games, the new sponsor of the channel. There'll be a link down in the description below. And if you want to support the channel even further, you can do by supporting us over on Patreon. We've also got our Discord up and running, completely free to join. Whole bunch of Shatterpoint stuff going on, and that's where you'll see the announcements for the rolling tournaments that we're doing at the moment. We're in the midst of our second one at the moment, so head on over to Discord to go and check that out. Please do the liking, subscribing, all of that good stuff, and until next time guys, it leaves me with just enough time to say stay well, keep safe, and may the Force be with you.